can sometimes feel like a lot, but you don't have to do it alone. I strongly believe that we're stronger together. Here, we're going to slow down, have real talks, make sense of things together, and explore ways to intentionally grow the life you want. We're going to talk about mental and physical health, relationships, money, work, and community. Welcome to Rooted in Intention with me, Karina Gomez. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Rooted in Intention. Thank you so much for giving me another sliver of your time. In this episode, we're going to be diving into New Year's resolutions, and I'm going to be sharing some common pitfalls that I've experienced, that I know others have experienced, as well as break down 3 steps that you can put into practice for your own New Year's resolutions so that they actually stretch you, but they don't leave you feeling depleted and yucky. The 3 steps will include reflecting on where you are right now, how things have been going, identifying what you would like for your New Year's resolutions to be, and really embodying who you have to be in order to meet or maintain your New Year's resolutions. And I'm also going to be sharing some tips that I've learned over the years. So hopefully they help you as well. To get this started, I really just want to start off with the definition of resolution to begin with, because I think sometimes we can add a lot of meaning to New Year's resolutions, but to just go back to the basic, a resolution is a firm decision to do or not to do something. And that's very much in alignment with what this podcast is all about. It's all about being intentional. And a resolution is really a practice of intentionality. So I really want you to remember that. And these goals aren't for you to beat yourself up, and they're not there to fix yourself, because you're not broken and there's nothing wrong with you. And resolutions are about what you are committing to for yourself and for the life that you want to be creating. And I think that's actually really starting off these common pitfalls going into creating New Year's resolutions. And if you've been listening already for a while, you know that I love mindset. And I really think that the mindset that we go into New Year's resolutions is probably going to be one of the biggest predictors of whether we're able to see through a New Year's resolution and maintain the same level of commitment at the beginning of the year and as the year progresses. And I think your mindset isn't what you say out loud to other people. It's not that fake mask that you put on of like, oh, yes, I'm going to do this and I feel confident in this. But what is it that you're actually feeling deep in your bones when you're going into creating New Year's resolution? Are you actually thinking things like, I failed before, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick with this? Are you actually experiencing some shame and like you're not worthy and you have to prove yourself? And that's the fuel behind you creating the New Year's resolutions? Because as much as those seem like they're pushing you to grow and to expand, I don't think that's a helpful fuel source in order for you to grow. You can actually find motivation and encouragement and fuel for growth and expansion with a more positive framework. And shame is just really those thoughts that you have of feeling like there's something wrong with you, of feeling like you aren't worthy and you have to be proving yourself. And these thoughts aren't really real. They're just thoughts that you've been practicing over and over again. And because you have been practicing them so much, your brain thinks that they're true and it thinks that that's the way to get you to do things. But I really want to challenge that belief that you have to shame yourself in order to do better, and that you can actually use positive thoughts as the fuel to get you going and get you motivated to see your New Year's resolutions through. And from what we know from neuroscience is that you can rewire your brain and you can change that negative inner critic as well. So maybe even this is the year that you focus more internally and you work on creating a different relationship with that inner critic. And you can do that through an array of methods, including like shadow work, therapy, subconscious mind reprogramming. So, just something to think about, and other things that would be helpful in moving away from these more shame based thoughts would be looking at some reframes and looking at things from a different perspective. So, if you have had New Year's resolutions in the past and you haven't been able to maintain them, maybe you said you wanted to exercise more, or you wanted to work towards your dream body, or you wanted to go for that dream job, or create a healthy romantic relationship, or spend more time with your family, and you didn't necessarily reach those in the way that you had intended to, I want you to actually think about how committed you are to be revisiting those New Year's resolutions over and over again and giving yourself another chance to try again. Because every time that you start, you're not starting from ground zero. Now you actually have the experience from the previous times that you tried, and you are able to make those little shifts over time. So I just really want you to remember that. You can take what you learned from your previous attempts and you could apply it every time that you try again. Okay, so to summarize the pitfalls, it really falls back on what is your mindset when you're starting off your New Year's resolutions. And I just want you to be really honest and in tune with yourself and your motivations of why are you setting up a particular New Year's resolution? Is it because you aren't feeling worthy in a particular area and you're trying to prove yourself? And there's actually a lot of shame in there. Or are you going in creating your New Year's resolutions, but deep in your bones, you're telling yourself, like, oh, I failed. I'm probably going to fail this again. It's just going to last for a little bit. And that's the story that you keep replaying. I want you to just take a step back from those and think about the mindset shifts that will allow you to actually go into your New Year's resolutions feeling more empowered and fueled by thoughts that are actually more helpful and aren't necessarily rooted in shame or feelings of not being worthy enough. Okay, so with that, let's walk through the 3 steps so you can plan out your New Year's resolutions for this year. And step number 1 is to reflect and to really just take inventory of where things are in your life right now. What did you love about 2025? What went well? What do you not want to repeat again? What do you want to move away from? And what do you want to move towards instead? And I want you to think about these questions as you go down the 4 big categories that I'm going to be sharing with you. And in addition to thinking about these questions, I also want you to rank where things are within each of these 4 categories using a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not so great and 10 being like, I am satisfied and fulfilled in this area of life, because that's really going to help guide you in terms of how you feel things are in different parts of your life. So, what I would encourage you to do is to maybe take out a sheet of paper and you could fold it in fours. So, you can have 4 different quadrants. And in quadrant 1, I want you to write love at the top. And the things that can be included within this section are things like your romantic relationships, your family relationships, your friendships, your relationship to yourself, really thinking about that self love. In quadrant two, you can write out wellness. And the things to take into account within the wellness category is things like your physical health, your mental and emotional health. And in the third quadrant, you can jot down work. You can literally think about your work, your career, your business, maybe your academic life if you're still in school. And in the fourth quadrant, this is really the catch all. You could write down other and think about those things that are particularly important for you. So these could be things like spirituality, it could be things like finances, it could be things like hobbies or self development. And after you have your piece of paper with those four quadrants and those four major buckets of life, just again, you can pause the podcast as you really take the time to reflect and think about what are the things that went well within each of these categories. What are the things that you really loved about 2025? What are the things that you don't want to repeat? And what are some of the things that you do want to move towards? And for each of these four categories, remember to also rank on a scale of 1 to 10 how satisfied you felt within these different areas of life as of right now. So I'll give you a moment to go ahead and do that. Once you have finished reflecting back on 2025, we are now going to move on to step number two, which is to identify your New Year's resolutions for 2026. And again, these New Year's resolutions can be things that you want to continue committing to. Maybe you have actually consistently been prioritizing and committing to a particular thing, and it's more about just really renewing your commitment to that particular thing. Or maybe there are new behaviors or goals that you want to commit to for 2026. So now using the same four categories of the areas of life, I want you to identify what are those things that you want to be working towards. And if you're feeling maybe a little confused, a little unsure what exactly you want to be moving towards, one of the things that I have found helpful is to actually think about the things that you don't want. So if you are feeling overworked at work, for instance, you don't want to feel stressed and overwhelmed. And once you know what you don't want, then that's going to help guide you towards what you do want to do. So you're going to want to feel more balanced at work, that you have a more manageable caseload, or maybe you're working less hours. So go ahead and pause the episode and think about what you want to either recommit to or newly commit to for 2026 within each of the four categories. Okay, so welcome back. And now that you have reflected on where you have been, identified about where you want to go, what you want to be recommitting to or committing to for 2026. I want you to actually prioritize and work on your New Year's resolutions one thing at a time, because that is one of the other pitfalls is sometimes with that refreshed energy of the new year, we want to do all of the things and change everything all at once. And that actually ends up being overwhelming, and we might start off really strongly, but we actually end up burning ourselves out really, really fast. So I actually want you to practice restraint. And one of the things that I have found helpful is to actually break up the year into quarters or into seasons and to really focus on one area of life at a particular time. Of course, you're not going to completely let the others completely fall apart, but it's just that one area of life is what's going to really be getting your most attention. So the point is that each season or each quarter, however you want to think about it, you want to come back to your New Year's resolutions and think about what you want to be prioritizing. And prioritizing doesn't mean that you're completely ignoring the other different aspects of life, but it really means that you're giving them less attention and you're really focusing and going all in on one particular area of life, because you don't want to be scattering your energy and trying to do all the things all at once. And believe me, I've been trying this for some time. When you start going all in on one part of your life, the new behaviors and habits and mindset shifts that you develop in that process actually end up bleeding out into the other parts of your life as well. So I really encourage you to first narrow down your New Year's resolutions to one thing per category. And then for each season of the year, I want you to pick one category to really prioritize. And what's really nice about this is that as time goes on, you are able to revisit your New Year's resolutions and make modifications as life naturally develops. So now that you have really narrowed down your focus for your New Year's resolutions, the last step is to embody. And what I mean by embody is to take action inspired from the version of you that already did that thing. I mean, really tapping into your own belief system that you can achieve your goal and then taking action inspired from the version of you that already did the thing. So, to help you with this, I want you to create a list of who you would have to be in order to reach either your goal or that commitment to yourself that you're making within your own resolution. What beliefs would you have to let go of? What new beliefs would you have to embrace? So, if you want to get a promotion, for instance, maybe you're going to have to be someone who knows and who acknowledges their wins. You're going to have to be someone that feels comfortable advocating for themselves. You're going to have to feel confident in your skills and in the strengths that you bring to the team. If you have a strong sense of humility, for instance, maybe you're going to have to stop conflating confidence with arrogance. If you're wanting to get more rest in 2026, maybe you're going to have to be someone that says no to things and sits with your discomfort, that maybe people are going to be mad at you for saying no. You're going to be someone that can set boundaries. You're going to be someone that checks in with yourself before committing and saying yes to something, because when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something. If you're wanting to get more exercise in 2026, maybe you have to be someone that actually sets up their schedule around the time for you to exercise. Maybe you're going to have to believe that a 5-minute workout is better than no workout. Maybe you're going to have to believe that a walk around the block is actually moving you in that direction of getting you to exercise regularly. If you're wanting to spend more time with family, who are you going to have to be? Maybe you are going to have to let go of your pride and be the first one to reach out, even if you feel like you are the one that's always reaching out. Maybe you're going to have to be someone who's very intentional with creating the opportunities to spend more time with your loved ones. And if you are wanting to start any particular habits in 2026, I would highly encourage you to go check out the next episode with Olga, where she shares how you can use neuroscience in order to start and to actually keep the habits that you're wanting to do. And I think this last step of really tapping into that future version of yourself, of who you would have to be to meet your New Year's resolution, is probably one of the most helpful things that I have found. And with what I now know about the subconscious mind and the power of our core beliefs, this all really makes sense to me now. Because in identifying what are those stepping stones of beliefs and of identity of yourself, you're actually rewiring your brain and you're providing that proof that you are someone that can reach those New Year's resolutions. So I really think this is one of the most valuable things that I have learned over time from creating New Year's resolutions and goals for myself. So, with all of that, I just really want you to really enjoy the journey of becoming who you want to be in the process of working on your New Year's resolutions. And you're going to be growing into that version of yourself who reaches those goals, who reaches those commitments that you're making. And realistically, what I have found, whether you reach your New Year's resolutions or not, you end up building skill sets and learning lessons in the process that are going to be beneficial for you down the road, for instance. So, if you are working towards a promotion, for instance, even if you don't get that promotion, you're going to be able to look back and be like, wow, I actually in the process, became more confident. I owned my wins. I learned the communication skills to verbalize my wins with senior leadership. I practiced the nervous system regulation to actually feel comfortable advocating for myself. And as cheesy as it sounds, I think those are actually the true wins. And it's why I really like that one saying of shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. I think that's actually true as well in working towards your New Year's resolutions or any goals, any commitment that you have is the person that you end up becoming in that process is actually the takeaway. That's actually the journey. And that's actually the thing that you get to enjoy. So enjoy the process. And I would love to know what you thought about this episode. What New Year's resolutions do you have? Go ahead and share those with me using the anonymous texting link in the show notes. And as always, if you haven't left a review, please leave a review because that is going to help spread the message that this podcast exists and it helps get this message out there as well. Thank you for tuning in. Bye. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Rooted in Intention. Until next time, and remember to keep showing up for the life, relationships, and community you want. Now go, grow the life you want